forced back to work.
We will challenge this legislation in the courts, in our communities, and the very conscience of Alberta.
The province takes an unusual step to end the teacher strike. Forever Canadian reaches their goal and more.
What a way to send a message to our provincial government.
And supporting Jamaica.
It's our obligation to make sure that we support to rebuild the rebuilding of Jamaica.
As Hurricane Melissa hits the country.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. The fallout continues from the province's decision to invoke the Notwithstanding clause to force teachers back to class. Stephanie Thomas joins us with more details. So, Stephanie, what happens next?
Alberta's Teachers Association says that teachers will comply with the legislation, but they also vow to keep the fight going by saying, quote, they will use every tool the law provides. Now, later tonight, teachers will also gather here for a rally of solidarity at the parking lot for Walmart near McLeod Trail and Southland Drive. Now, Bill 2, known as the Back to School Act, was passed in the early hours this morning, and it was invoked with the Notwithstanding clause. That means the legislation knowingly contravenes the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It also blocks the union from mounting a legal challenge. The province said that student and family mental health was deteriorating and learning has been irreparably harmed over the last 3 weeks. Now, constitutional and labor experts say that it's a very heavy hand for the province to use just to end bargaining processes. The other unions are likely to see this as an end to the right to strike. Now, the ATA says the fight continues.
Teachers will comply with the law, but make no mistake, compliance is not consent. The association will fight this abuse of power with every tool the law provides and every ounce of conviction we possess. We will pursue every legal avenue and every forum to reclaim the rights and freedoms this government has torn away. We will challenge this legislation in the courts, in our communities, and the very conscience of Alberta.
We also know that a very large coalition of Alberta unions met this afternoon to discuss the next steps that it may take in solidarity with Alberta teachers. More to come on that likely tomorrow. Ian?
All right, Stephanie, thank you. And Jacqueline Wilson joins us with more reaction. And Jackie, you've been hearing from teachers and students. How are they feeling about returning to class tomorrow?
And I certainly have. I was chatting with students and teachers all day, and the words I heard several times were frustrated and disappointed when I was speaking to them ahead of returning to the classrooms tomorrow. Now, teachers were also hosting a rally earlier today. It was a long memorial drive, many expressing their disbelief that the government would force them back to work with a deal that they clearly didn't want. And under the new law, any teachers who refused to return to the class, they could face fines of $500 per day, while the union, they could be penalized $500,000 per day. Now, as for students, I spoke to one grade 11 at Forest Lawn High School today, and she says that she's frustrated by class sizes, and she is disappointed that that won't change. She claims she's had 50 kids, 50 kids in her classes, and really it's impacting her learning.
I feel like classes starting tomorrow is a violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms for teachers, because they went on strike so that they could get stuff done, and the government is just shutting down their strike and forcing them back to work.
Now, Ian, some students, including Willow, tell me that they plan to walk out of their schools on Thursday around 10 a.m. And actually, we've had several students at high schools around the city email us telling us they are planning on doing the same thing. Some of those that I have here on the list: Henry Wisewood, Dr. E.P. Scarlett, and Lester B. Pearson. That is just to name a few. Ian?
Showing support for their teachers. Thank you, Jackie. And the Premier wasn't in the legislature while the contentious back-to-work bill was being tabled, debated, or passed. Instead, she was on her way to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. This social media post shows her at the Calgary airport before departure last night. Danielle Smith has meetings with government and industry officials about energy, health, and agriculture. The Premier returns to Alberta on November 5th. Over 450,000 Albertans have signed a petition to remain in Canada. Alicia Fieldberg joins us with more. And Alicia, that's significantly more signatures than were required for this citizen-led petition.
Yes, Ian, the threshold was 294,000 signatures. That's what they needed. Instead, today they handed over more than 456,000 signatures to Elections Alberta. Now, those signatures still need to be verified, and that process will take place over the next 60 days. A former Deputy Premier Thomas Lukasik and a team of about 6,500 volunteers have been collecting signatures throughout the province for the past 3 months. Now, the petition asks, do you agree that Alberta should remain within Canada? Now, he started the campaign to counter separatists wanting a referendum on Alberta independence. Premier Daniel Smith's government has urged Alberta to stay in Confederation, but also made it easier for groups to hold a referendum by lowering the signature threshold. Lukasik chose to start his petition before that threshold was lowered. Now, if the petition is certified, within 10 days it would move to the Legislative Committee, which has 90 days to prepare and table a report. Then either the Legislative Assembly chooses to vote on the question or decides Albertans will vote on it in a referendum.
This is also a resounding message to the rest of the world. Alberta is a place where you can safely invest. Alberta is a place where you can move to. And Alberta is a place where you can raise your family, because we're not going anywhere outside of Canada.
Now, Elections Alberta says that work to verify the names will start tomorrow. They have people working 7 days a week for the next 60 days, and they will need to check every name on that list and contact some of those people. So from now until December 27th, anybody who signed that petition may be getting either a phone call or an email to verify. Ian?
Thank you, Alicia. The province is planning to use a new license plate slogan, but there could be a trademark issue. The province recently announced it would be replacing Wild Rose Country with Strong and Free. New Brunswicker Denise Dow trademarked the phrase for her merchandise line 18 years ago. She says those products can be found in duty-free stores across Canada and retailers such as Canadian Tire and Walmart. Her trademark includes license plates of metal, so she believes charging a nominal fee is reasonable and has an idea of directing some money to an Alberta charity.
I want this to be a positive thing. For me, I'm not looking for a battle. I want it to be a win-win. So how do we figure out a way that makes sense for everybody, the people in Alberta, the people in Canada, and me and my family, of course.
A trademark lawyer says the Alberta government could argue that this is ornamental use instead of trademark use, but Dow could argue this depreciates the value of her brand. Jeremy Farkas will be sworn in as Calgary's mayor tomorrow evening. The mayoral recount shows the difference between Farkas and Sonia Sharp has grown to 616 from 581. Farkas says he reached out to Sharp to congratulate her and her team on a strong campaign. The swearing in of Calgary's new council starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. And the UCP is looking at changing provincial electoral boundaries, and today an interim report was released. Among the recommendations, creating more hybrid divisions, including 3 in Calgary. That means incorporating some rural areas into a city riding and vice versa. The report says feedback so far shows Albertans are skeptical about the idea. More public consultation is planned for January. All right, we are monitoring what's happening with Hurricane Melissa, and it hit Jamaica earlier today.
Yes, and you know, one of the worst hurricanes on record at this point. So this is something absolutely to watch if you have family there, if you were planning on traveling there. The landscape may not look like what it's looked like before this storm has hit. So Jamaica is where it is now. You can see it's Category 4 at this point. So it's been downgraded from a 5 to a 4. And then it's expected to reach Cuba for tonight, the eye of the storm, which is the worst part, of course, especially on the right side of it. This will start to track to the east of the Atlantic seaboard along the U.S., basically as a Category 2, and then by the time it reaches Canadian waters, it will likely still be a Category 1 storm, and it should reach Canadian waters on Halloween night. So something we're going to keep our eye on for you and keep you posted. Now, here at home, wind is an issue as well not those kinds of winds, but strong enough. 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts possible, Pincher Creek, Crowsnest Pass for tomorrow. And for us in Calgary, we're looking at 50 to 60-kilometer-per-hour gusts tomorrow. So it will be a windy one, starting out mainly cloudy, clouds clearing out to some sunshine for the afternoon with a high of 13. That's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thAvVW.com. Ian.
Thank you, Danielle. Calgary has a large Jamaican population, and many of them are worried about their homeland amidst this massive hurricane. Next, the local business that's already planning to help out and exchanging ideas on the representation of Indigenous people in the justice system. Calgary flights to the Caribbean are being impacted by Hurricane Melissa, with WestJet canceling its Jamaica flights today. Calgary's Jamaican community is anxiously waiting to hear from loved ones. The Category 5 hurricane is hitting the island nation today, with the worst conditions wrapping up this hour. There's expected to be severe flooding and possible landslides, and extensive damage is already being reported. Crazy Jerk Jamaican Restaurant in Calgary will be donating some of its sales to hurricane relief.
It's our obligation to make sure that we support to rebuild the rebuilding of Jamaica. And as our initiatives, we're currently, for the month of November, we will be donating 5% of our sales. We'll also be setting up a donation box over there in the corner where we can get community members, where we can get customers to donate, whether this is monetary contributions, whether this is clothing or perishable items.
The hurricane has now been downgraded to a Category 4 as the eye of the storm heads toward Cuba. Those planning to fly to any Caribbean destination in the coming days should check their flight status before heading to the airport. And if that restaurant is supporting the people of Jamaica, I want to support that restaurant.
I agree.
Besides the fact that the food looks really good as well.
Really good.
So no hurricane force winds around here, but the winds will pick up sometime tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be a gusty day for all of southern Alberta tomorrow, in particular for the southwest corner of the province. Pincher Creek, Crowsnest Pass, warnings in place there. Looking at some strong gusts, and we're going to get gusty tomorrow here in the city. Look at the clouds that are starting to push in. We are going to hold on to those clouds right through tomorrow morning, and then they'll start to clear out late morning. Okay, so speaking of the winds, today, as we talked about, it's been a calm wind day. Fairly calm anyway. Just a maximum wind gust of 35 in Calgary and Lethbridge, and then no gusts have registered outside of that. Pincher Creek closer to 50. This is really going to pick up in many communities for tomorrow. So Lethbridge, we're looking at getting to 80-kilometer-per-hour gusts, and this area here, 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts. And for us in Calgary, 50, maybe even 60. So we're certainly getting to a windier day tomorrow. That's going to bump up the temperatures. The difference is that the wind's going to kick in many communities tonight. So temperatures will rise while we're sleeping. These are winds out of the west, so this will pump up our temperatures. But again, very gusty conditions. So this will start to really pick up tonight, but really intensify by tomorrow. That's why the warning is in place there. We have no warning in Calgary because we're not looking at winds that intense. Thank goodness. 6 degrees is the temperature in Calgary, 9 in Brooks and Medicine Hat, 5 in Pincher Creek, and just 3 in Banff. So yeah, temperatures, we got a little bit warmer today in most communities, about 2 degrees warmer than yesterday, but it's still around normal. This is the system where it's going to redevelop on our side of the Rockies again. So we've already had one a few days ago that did this, and then we have another one. So for central and northern Alberta, this is a freezing rain, snow event, as you can see. And we're going to have a little bit of spillover into the Pincher Creek, Crowsnest Pass area overnight tonight and through tomorrow morning. But for Calgary, we're just looking at the cloud cover and the winds picking up at times. East of the city, there is rain in the forecast, especially for tomorrow afternoon, and it could be heavy at times as well. And then things clear out for Thursday. But of course, a big question is, what does this mean for Halloween Friday? So 13 degrees for tomorrow, mainly cloudy in the morning, winds gusty all day up to 50, even 60 kilometers per hour. Mainly sunny for Thursday and 8 degrees. Similar temperature, I guess, by Friday with a high of 7. Mainly cloudy skies expected for Friday. We are looking at a small chance of showers in the afternoon hours, and it may be a little breezy as well. Now, of course, I will continue to keep you posted as we get closer to Halloween.
Thanks, Danielle. Firefighters remain at the scene of a house fire in the northeast. Around 3:30 this afternoon, flames were coming from the back of a home on Rundlewood Close. The fire spread to at least one other house. Paramedics were called to the scene, but there are no reported injuries. Tsuut'ina Nation Police are hosting an event to broaden understanding of First Nations in the justice system. The event will examine the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the justice system and how to divert, when possible, to alternative justice. Police also want Indigenous people to feel safe and represented while accessing justice. Police, government officials, not-for-profits, and community members will share their ideas. The Tsuut'ina police chief says people can become lost when dealing with police, lawyers, and the courts.
Maybe the colonial court systems and the colonial policing system isn't what the communities want, and there's ways to adapt to, again, bring it to a more traditional model of policing and justice.
The conference is set to run for 2 days. Can you imagine Halloween without chocolate? Me neither. Still ahead, why chocolate is more expensive this year and how shrinkflation is a major factor. Some major developments today involving OpenAI. Joining me is Liana Wachniak, investment advisor with the Popwich Carmeli Advisory Group. And Liana, OpenAI is becoming more profit-oriented.
That's right. OpenAI announced today that they would be basically doing a restructuring and creating a for-profit corporation that would be overseen by a not-for-profit foundation that would continue to chase what they're calling the artificial general intelligence. So basically an autonomous system, or a fairly autonomous system, that can do a lot of things better than people can. There has been a lot of questions over time about how OpenAI and ChatGPT can actually monetize some of their software. Now, in terms of making money, ChatGPT also announced today that they would be adding PayPal as a payment structure on their ChatGPT platform, so you will be able to click a button to buy something within ChatGPT and pay with PayPal. So another major partnership there, and one more step on the monetization piece for OpenAI.
And there seems to be some interest in nuclear power these days, and that will help a couple of Canadian companies.
That's right. And this is actually also tied to the AI boom. We're seeing a new government contract from the U.S. between a U.S. company, Westinghouse Electric, and two major Canadian names, Brookfield Asset Management out of Toronto and Cameco out of Saskatoon. All three of those companies will be working together to create $80 billion of new nuclear reactors in the U.S., really to drive the electricity demand fueled by the data centers that run AI models. So that one is going to be an interesting one to watch, but definitely a benefit for the Canadian corporations. As an example, Cameco shares traded up over 22% today.
Liana, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Kids looking to stock up on chocolate Friday night for Halloween might be in for a bit of a shock. Soaring cocoa prices have sent the cost of mini chocolate bars up by 15% compared to last year, according to the Halloween Treat Cost Report from Dalhousie University. And one food expert warns those who do score chocolate will notice those bite-sized bars are even smaller because of shrinkflation. Cocoa costs are now around 4 times the 5-year average, largely due to climate change and extreme weather events. It's not lost on shoppers who feel tricked about giving out treats.
The chocolate is too expensive, and I understand that the packaging is even smaller. The kids deserve something for Halloween.
Chocolate went up. I mean, chocolate isn't something that we're willing to go without, and especially at Halloween.
For those looking for a bargain, the food expert we spoke with recommends waiting until Thursday to grab trick-or-treat handouts and purchasing them at pharmacies or discount stores. Alberta teachers and students return to school tomorrow. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. Early this morning, the UCP passed its back-to-work legislation, which uses the Notwithstanding clause. It imposes a new contract on teachers, prohibits job action for 4 years, and shields the legislation from legal challenges. Coming up at 6, the impact this approach could have on recruiting and retaining teachers here in Alberta. Also ahead, over 450,000 Albertans have signed a petition for the province to remain in Canada. Coming up, a political expert weighs in on the message that this sends to the Premier. Ian.
Thank you, Tara. Another group of tickets for the 2026 FIFA World Cup are up for sale. In total, 1 million tickets are up for grabs. Organizers have arranged sales so the people in the 3 host countries, Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, have first dibs on single match tickets in their home country. That special draw runs until Friday morning. Both Toronto and Vancouver are hosting World Cup games next year. The event kicks off on June 11th. The city of Lethbridge is finding a new way to honor veterans ahead of Remembrance Day. A memorial crosswalk is being installed near that city's cenotaph. It will feature the phrase, "Lest we forget," in English, French, and Blackfoot. It will also have a silhouette inspired by the cenotaph statue. The Lethbridge Legion selected the crosswalk design. We're going to see the winds pick up tomorrow as quickly as 50 kilometers an hour or so. So things are changing a bit right now in Calgary. 6 degrees. Danielle has details coming up. Okay, you have the Halloween forecast coming up.
I do,
yeah. Do you have that cute little spider on it?
No, I decided to switch it up.
Oh, surprise me then.
Okay. Surprise. It's not that exciting.
Oh.
Because the spider moves really cool. Okay, 6 degrees is the current temperature. We did get to a high of 8 today. 7 is normal. So as you can see, we're right around where we should be for this time of year. The record for this day is 21.7. Okay.
Oh, jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, jack-o'-lantern. That's cute. Okay, so gusts 50 kilometers per hour for tomorrow. It will be a windy day, absolutely. That's in the morning and in the afternoon. This even is going to start to pick up tonight while we're sleeping, which is why temperatures will warm while we're sleeping. We're looking at a warm morning, but of course windy, and a high of 13 for tomorrow. For the next 2 days after that, you're looking at around 8 and 7 degrees for daytime highs.
Thanks, Danielle. You know those neighbors, the ones who love Halloween and spend weeks building a spooky display. Check out the work of this couple in Edmonton.
The wind howled and the bats swore.
There's a haunted castle 6 meters long and 3 meters high on the front lawn of Dave and Tammy Owanik's home. The castle gets bigger every year, and this year it took 7 weeks to build it. Dave says he loves to see how kids respond in awe and amazement as they go through the castle. There's also a charity element. Trick-or-treaters are asked to make a donation to the food bank to enter the haunted castle. Looks like fun. Thank you for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.